Happy Monday, welcome back to Park to Prem. The transfer window is opening shortly. I've spent some money and look at this league table. We are in 5th, which admittedly does look really mighty impressive until you realise Brentford, who were promoted from the Championship back into the Premier League this year, are currently ahead of us in 4th. John Terry is their manager. They are having an absolutely insane season, but I do feel like in Football Manager, kind of once every 5 years, there's like a season of weirdness, you know, where the top performers don't really do top performer-y things in the Premier League. We might just be having that year. Then again, is Tottenham in 16th that weird at this point? Maybe it's not. I mean, Manchester United are struggling down in 14th. Newcastle and Arsenal, two teams who find themselves in the bottom half, who have won less than a third of their matches. It is a weird old year, but we're in 5th. We're enjoying it while we can. What I will say is their league table is very, very compact, and I don't think we're going to be catching Liverpool. Now, when I left things previously, I think we had close to £50 million in the transfer budget. I have spent a big old wad of cash. The transfer window isn't open yet. You might be wondering, what have you signed, Jack? Well, I'll tell you what I've signed. Some really bloody good youngsters. These are two players who were in the next gen list last year. I had an eye on them. The first is Victor Tristaru. I hope I'm saying that right. Romanian viewers, please help me out. This guy, though, a centre attacking mid who has only just turned 18 and looks absolutely phenomenal. He's not a big player. He's not a strong player. But I'll tell you what, he is unbelievably talented with the ball at his feet. Great vision. Okay passing. Perhaps that would like to be a little bit better. But he is 18. Like, I feel like that's the most important caveat here. This man is 18, and I feel like as a long-term channel midfielder for us, he could be really good. Obviously, with the tactical system this year, Simon has been absolutely amazing for us. 3 goals and 2 assists for the channel midfielder. But I don't really have a good alternative to him in this part of the pitch. And I'll tell you what, I think Victor could be that man. Don't be surprised to see me forcing Victor into the first team and giving him minutes. My scouts think he's got 5-star potential and is already a Premier League standard player. Obviously, yeah, we need to play him. We need to get this boy improving. And in the end, he only cost us £13 million. I say only because I just feel like long-term he is going to be worth so much more than that. Now, in the case of Victor, I have a plan for how I'm going to get him into the first team. The next player I have less of a plan for. Tutor here is the man with a plan. 19 years old, Brazilian striker. I have far too many strikers in the team, as we'll come on to in a moment. I've signed him. In an ideal world, I potentially look to loan him back out. The 19-year-old, though, given a release clause of 8.2 million, felt like really good value for money, and he is another player who my scouts just think has 5-star potential. In his case, a super consistent performer, perfectionist personality. That should definitely help him fulfill this potential and really realise it. I do feel like we are blessed with far too many strikers at this point. I was already, before I signed Tutor here, looking to sell someone in January. That is probably going to be kind of a big focus. The combined outlay on those first 2 players, over £21 million. So a little bit of a bargain for our first player here. Franco Calero, 23 years old, Peruvian national team goalie, and ultimately just a backup goalie for us. I think that is kind of where he will settle into the team. My staff do think he's got a little bit of potential, so maybe keep an eye on that. But ultimately, Charlie Hardy has informed me he is leaving on a free transfer at the end of the year. I needed to get in a new second choice keeper, and Calero is going to be that. I have really been trying to find a goalie, by the way. In an ideal world, I would have signed a new starting goalie, and then Nana, our starter, would have dropped down a spot in the team to be the backup. Admittedly, he's been very good so far this year. And just in terms of the goalies in this universe, there is not many good ones. Like, for example, Gomez here, you kind of see him at River Plate and think, wow, national team captain Argentina, highest current ability. Why wouldn't I sign this guy? I just don't think he's very good. Like, this guy is the national team goalie for Argentina. I don't know if it's a Football Manager kind of regen production issue, but in general, there's just not many good keepers. Stuart O'Connor here is the Ireland national team goalie. He actually is not a bad little player, but kind of when you look at his polygon, you start to realise he's very, very average. The fact that he's the starting goalie for Ireland, kind of mad. And the weird thing is, even the most elite of the elite goalies in this universe just aren't very good. So I don't know if this is a Football Manager issue. Mikael Nissanen, who's a Finnish goalie, is the main man. He is the best goalie in the entire of the Premier League. He's got 7 aerial reach and 8 jumping reach, which I know for some people would immediately put them off. Like, I mean, that is just a weird polygon. I think there's something broken with FM26 and goalies being produced, if I'm being honest. If that is something you've noticed, please let me know down below. Anyway, those are 3 signings that are coming in January. There's one signing I've made since the transfer window shut, though. And it's probably one that's going to make the signing of Tuta, the Brazilian striker, even more questionable. Graham Byrne. Yeah, remember this guy? Free agent for ages. Did not find a club for a long old time. He was asking for hundreds of thousands of pounds a week at one point. He has signed for us now on £30,000 a week, which I think is an absolute bargain. England international, really good goal scorer for the England national team. It's not really translated into his form in the league for us just yet, but I'm going to hope he will come good eventually. Just as a little reminder, last year he was on loan in the Championship, didn't get any goals there, but then was the top goal scorer in the World Cup for the England national team. I feel like there's got to be a good player in here. His physicals suggest that. His technicals, I'll be honest, they're not that amazing. I feel like with Tuta joining, he's the kind of player who, and it might sound mental, I wouldn't necessarily be against selling in, maybe not January, because he probably won't want to go then, but in the summer? I know I was discussing it last episode before I signed Byrne and, well, more players. We just have far too many high-quality strikers competing for 2 attacking spots. The issue I've really got is there's not been one runaway goal scorer. When we sort things by goals, of all the attackers in our team, there's only a few that have 4 goals each. I suppose the issue I've got here is they're all kind of performing fine. No one's really performing badly, but because no one's been that standout number one, there's no one who's had a massive run of games in the first team. And I guess the other issue is there is so much potential in this team that I kind of want to make sure these youngsters aren't getting minutes, which means for someone like Spolyar and someone like Carlos Lenis, they are the 2 players I look at and think, lads, you've probably got to go. I feel like often when you're talking about your strikers and the need to maybe sell someone in January, it's because you've got an issue with goal scoring. That has not been an issue with us. We've played a whole load of Football Manager since you were last here. Of course, we ended last episode with a 5-0 win against Leicester, and that inspired us to go on a 2-month unbeaten run. Having beat Leicester, we got a great result to kick things off. A 2-1 win over Mikel Arteta's Newcastle United side, and in this game, Nana made a last-minute penalty save. The goalie has been really good. 15 games in the Premier League, 7 clean sheets, a 7.2 rating as well. Yeah, I know there's question marks over this guy and his actual ability. On the pitch, he has been putting in performances. Having beaten Newcastle, we could only draw 0-0 against Wolverhampton Wanderers, which was disappointing. The defender ratings, though, kind of indicate it was a good performance in terms of the defence. In terms of the attack, we changed things up, but it just didn't work. We got our second away win of the season away at Selhurst Park. 4-1 in this one. Simon with 2 goals, and we followed that up with another win, this time against Swansea City. Some unlikely goal scorers here. David Addons, a player getting on the score sheet, was great to see. I love David Addons. He has a load of potential and I have a load of belief in him to come good. But I'll be honest, since we signed him and he's now been here over a year, he's not improved really nearly as much as I hope he might. We've given him 4 starts in the Premier League this year. He got 20 games last year as well, as a little reminder. Admittedly, we did only spend £250,000 on him, but when you kind of look at that 5-star potential, you'd like to see a little bit more. And as for Swansea, who we beat, you might remember last year they finished above us in the league. They had a great season last year in their first season in the Premier League. Maybe a little bit of second season syndrome for them. They're down in 18th right now. Up next, we had a crazy game in the EFL Cup. It was only a 3-2 win against Huddersfield of League One. Borderlass with his first goal for the club in the 100th minute. Not often you see a goal scored in the 90 plus 10 minute, but yeah, not the most convincing results. At least we got it done. After that, back-to-back 1-0 wins against Fulham and West Ham, both away from home in the league. Variety of goal scorers as well. Kakayo scoring against West Ham, continuing to improve. Not scored as many goals as I hoped he might, playing as the false 9, the 23-year-old, but I still really do like the look of him. And after all that, we had perhaps the biggest result of the season so far. The snow was coming down at the Dripping Pan as we took on an Arsenal team that have really struggled this year. But in this match, Cardozo was the man with a plan. We scored some really, really nice goals. Cardozo scoring the opening goal. Arsenal went on the attack. Cardozo turned provider. How about this for assist? Byrne put the ball on a plate. He was never going to miss it. And I suppose in terms of historic results for Lewis FC, this has got to be up there. I don't even feel like we massively overperformed things. You look at the match momentum, you look at the match stats. We really took the game to Arsenal in this one. Also, if you're wondering, why does it show my formation twice and not Arsenal's? No idea, this is FM26. I don't have the answers for all the questions. Now, I did say we were unbeaten through 2 months. I feel like that is maybe, twisting stats to say what you want them to say. Because the reality is we only played 6 games in October and November. The blessing, I suppose, of no European football. But as we approach that action-packed part of the season, things have gone a little off rails. I mentioned the fact that Brentford are going really strong. They are above us in the league, in part because of this result here. Jamie Gittins scoring the only goal of the game as we took them on away from home. The left winger just cut inside, danced away, and tucked it into the bottom corner. Unfortunately, in the very next game, I thought we were going to get back to winning ways. We were 2-1 up against Everton going into the 90th minute. Unfortunately, though, we had to share the spoils. We went on the attack late on to try and press home our advantage, and in the end, Bouar, with arguably an assist of the season, the left back with a little back heel through our midfield, and the ball snuck in at the far post. And unfortunately, it was 3 games without a win, maybe not so surprising this one, taking on the other Merseyside club in Luis Enrique's Liverpool. We lost 4-3. Burn was able to score against his former club. I thought as he scored in the 90th minute, maybe something magical was going to happen. There was no magic. But what I will say is when you look at the overall statistics and kind of performance for this game, we really weren't bad. Like, this is okay. And well, as you've already seen, we do find ourselves 5th in the Premier League. Our goal difference is not the most impressive at only 11, but from a defensive point of view, we've actually got the 3rd best defence in the league, behind only Chelsea and Man City. And that really has been the basis for our success this year. I know a lot of you guys had question marks about the 3 at the back system and playing with the tracking wide midfielders, but actually, I think it's really played into the strengths of our team nicely. I feel like the issue with our past 3 at the back systems really was that we just had one lone isolated striker, and this system really is a way where we've been able to get a second striker on the pitch without maybe compromising our defensive rigidity, because when we don't have the ball and we're defending deep, it is basically the back 5 that we're used to. I have to say as well, I absolutely love the fact that this year in Football Manager you can do stuff like regroup for your defensive transition, play with a lower defensive line, and it actually works quite nicely. I feel like in, especially FM24, but even going back further, it was always just a case of press as much as you can, play the highest line possible. That you can have success in different ways this year, which I think is really fun. I will say, if fun is determined by success, I would like to have some fun today. We've not won in our last 3. The games today are hard. Yeah, we're away from home against Brighton to kick things off today. They are in 8th place, but they are only 3 points behind us, so lose that game, they could leapfrog us. And as well as that, we've got a trip to Anfield, which I'm not looking forward to. That's going to be a horrible game in the EFL Cup quarter-finals. And then to wrap things up today, we are going to take on Ruud van Nistelrooy's Manchester United side, who are currently down in 14th. They're having an awful season. But I will say, in terms of their actual players, their squad is way, way better than 14th. Oh, and if you were wondering about the season preview, we've actually climbed up to 15th of the 20 teams. We're moving on up, so maybe our young team is just continuing to improve. Now, our first game is away from home at the Amex. It's been a while since the last one. Shall we go do a good old-fashioned away day? I do really wish that rivalries were a lot more dynamic in Football Manager. You have Brighton, the city here, Lewes, the town here, and actually, in between the two is the Amex Stadium. It's almost closer to us. In fact, on the train, the stadium is literally 1 stop away, as far as I'm aware. It's 1 stop on this line to the Amex. I think there's a few more stops if you're going through Brighton. In terms of the Amex, of course, it is one of the newer stadiums in England, has a not bad car park as well, although if you've ever done this away day, you'll know they quite like you to take the train. But the queues for the trains are bloody awful. I've got a whole story about that when I went to this stadium with Zealand once upon a time. We'll save that for another time. The University of Brighton is also just connected to the stadium too. I don't know if there's any accommodation here, but, you know, if you need any overflow car parking, they've got you covered. I will say, in terms of stuff to do around this stadium, yeah, there's not really like any pubs or anything. Like, you're basically forced to go inside. There is dots all over the pitch. That fills me with hope. I want to get a little peek at the car park if we can to kick things off today. Here is the Amex, which is like sunk down into a little valley almost. I mean, in terms of car parks for away days, you know what? It's a big one and it actually has a nice balance of grass security. And they've worked the space nicely. I feel like the stadium from the outside, right, on this road here looks very, very small. It's a bit bigger on the inside. Here is some drone footage just to show off the car park itself and the additional car park that we looked at before, which I assume is actually mostly used for coaches. I don't know why, whenever I look at car parks from above, it makes me want to play a city building video game. As for the Brighton Stadium itself, great seat art. Look, they've got the seagulls on the seat art. They understand the assignment. I mean, the actual, like, setting, right, of this stadium is really, really nice. And I think this town here is called Falmer. I might be mistaken, so locals, please let me know. But I've got to say, like, if you're looking for stuff to soak up a football match at day atmosphere, like, there is nothing at the ground. In fact, I can tell you this from personal experience, that the way that you do a Brighton away day is You go to the station here, and then there's lots of pubs on the road next to the train station. Then you get the train from these platforms on the right. It's a very weird away day. Right, there are dots on the pitch. What do they actually offer us? Oh my word. Am I about to go on a point-and-click adventure? I've turned up. We're in a box. Can I go look at the pitch? Oh, look at this. We can go look at the pitch. Here is the stadium, which I'll be honest, it doesn't really look that big, does it, from here? But it's just a clean, modern stadium. And look at these sofas. They look bloody comfy. They knew I was coming. They've already got wine out on the table. There's a signed Brazil shirt on the wall. Who has signed it? It's a signed Pele shirt. Of course, Pele, well-known legend of Brighton Football Club. Can I just go through the hallway? Surely not. Oh, my, I could just go on an adventure. They can't stop me. We've got some more of the hospitality here. Does Brighton just have a load of hospitality? This is very clean and quite nice, isn't it? Just seeing what they've got on tap. Heineken, Guinness, Moretti. Don't worry, they have got soft drinks in the fridge as well. I clicked once by accident and I've ended up in the peasant section where there are no longer leather seats and instead there are men's toilets. I'm guessing these are famous images from Brighton's history. I'm not going to pretend to know where these images are from. If you do know, let me know. I think this one here is Plymouth Argyle. I recognise the Ginster sponsor. £4.50 for a pint. That's actually not that unreasonable in a stadium. How many different restaurants do they have in the hospitality at Brighton? I didn't realise that Brighton is the city of hospitality. Look at this. Another view. You could just have a little meal, watch the football. All I'm saying is if anyone from Brighton Football Club is watching this video, please get me a hospitality box for the day. I want to review this in person. There's some dots in the stadium itself. Can these help me see the pitch? Why am I in a climbing wall area? I'm trying to work out, is this like Brighton's actual gym or is this like a gym for students that's just in the stadium? It must be the latter. Does anyone recognise these as Brighton footballers through the glass? I think they're probably just university students. Now, annoyingly, there's all these dots everywhere, and over here, there's none of the actual match day experience. Right, the Amex Stadium, 5-star for hospitality, 5-star for car parking, match day vibes, could not review. Activities around the stadium. I've already gone to university and graduated. I don't need to go back. This is not for me. Although there is an ultimate frisbee pitch. That might get them an extra point. The Amex Stadium, fun away day, fun hospitality. Some of the best hospitality we've seen, dare I say. I'm going to give it a 6 out of 10. Maybe that's a bit generous considering this team really are our local rivals. I do wish, and I don't know how you'd even do this in Football Manager, but I do wish when it came to rivalries and stuff, the game somehow knew Brighton is literally a team down the road from us. And so it was considered a derby once we reached their level. Obviously, in real life, Lewis are 7 divisions below Brighton, so it's not an immediate concern these two playing one another. But I just feel like, you know, it would make the universe feel a bit more alive if these kind of games were all of a sudden considered derbies, or at the very least just had a chance to develop over time into something. You know, there are other geolocations of all the different football club stadiums in the Football Manager database, and they are used for different factors like proximity and travel costs and stuff. So I feel like the underlying info is there. Alas, we do not have the technology just yet. In terms of team news for today's game, I don't think there's any injuries to mention. Brian Pearce has missed a period of football through injury, but he is fit enough to be on the bench. I feel like at this point the defence kind of picks itself, and it does mean that Pereira is no longer a starter for us. When I've played him this year, he's not been great. He, of course, has been a little bit hit and miss. There is a lot of interest in him. I may well look to sell him in January, purely because Ngwashi has been the best performing of our defenders, playing in that right centre-back position. In terms of the midfield and the rest of the defence, it's all very expected though. Gromman and Oliver in at the back, Nana in goal, Sassi and Ruiz out wide. Up top, I'm going with Aguiar and Kakayo. They have been the best two performers when they've played alongside one another. Of course, Aguiar against Leicester grabbed a hat-trick in like 7 minutes. He has scored 1 goal in the league since then, which is maybe a bit of a concern. We've not really been a free-flowing goal-scoring team, but what I will say is kind of the goals have come from everywhere. And in terms of assists, the assists have also kind of come from everywhere. There's not been a single focal point in the team. That makes us difficult to shut down. Of course, there are a load of alternative striking options we have on the bench if things aren't working out for us. Brighton look like they're going to be set up in a 4-2-4. I don't think I've had to play a 4-2-4 with this system. This could be interesting. I guess my concern here that is with this front 4, they are going to outmatch our front 3. We have really got to focus, I think, on trying to win this midfield battle. Out of possession, they are playing a slightly more normal shape. but I do think distributing the ball to the flanks probably isn't the play to do here. I'm going to change our goalie distribution to the centre-backs, with them only having one lone striker out of possession and even two strikers when they do have the ball. Even if we do lose the ball and they lose the ball and look to counter-press, the 3 centre-backs versus 2 strikers should always mean there's one man free. And the other thing I'm going to do here is actually really encourage us to try and win this midfield battle. I want to try and progress the ball through the midfield quickly. They're playing with 2 defensive midfielders and no one in that kind of 10 role in the middle. And whilst Tunkara will drop in there when they don't have the ball, I don't know, I feel there's a midfield battle to win. And if we are going to focus the ball through the middle, I'm going to encourage our players to play much narrower. Our wide players, the wingers, when we have the ball, will still provide a bit of natural width. Okay, well, I've made those changes. They've not gone through yet, and Brighton are on the attack, which is always a little bit concerning, although Ruiz wins the ball in a great little area there. The right midfielder really has adapted to life in the Premier League quickly. Cardozo goes down in a heap. Kakayo brings it forward, though. Aguiar, Ruiz, this is pretty. This is lovely. This is football. Aguiar scores. We are a goal up against our local rivals inside 90 seconds. The actual build-up play here was so nice. Aguiar, using his physicals, turning on the afterburners, just bursts through the middle, and he was never going to miss that. I am going to stick with the tactical changes I've just made. I feel like it's always a bit concerning, isn't it? When you make some changes in Football Manager and then all of a sudden you get a goal. I am actually going to turn off pass into space, I think, here. With them having 2 kind of defensive midfielders and a back 4, it's not going to be a whole load of space for us to play the ball into. Anyway, 13 minutes played it, and Gwashi playing it to Ruiz, who was the provider of the first goal. Can the right midfielder do it again here? Cardozo plays it to Ruiz. I'm getting deja vu. He pulls it back. Oh, my word. Aguiar, no mercy, spanks it into the top corner. Cardozo's pass here, by the way, is absolutely perfectly weighted. Ruiz plays it in, and I'll tell you what, it's not the easiest ball for Aguiar to try and convert, but on the volley, into the top corner, take a bow. The same 2 players have linked up for both goals so far. It's been Ruiz on the right wing with the assist to Aguiar. Can they do it again? I want to believe they can. And Gwashi with the ball here gives it wide to Ruiz. A little bit isolated, with us telling the players to play narrower with the play. It is going to be the wingers need to pull off passes like that. It's 3-0. Kakayo scores against our local rivals. We are embarrassing them. Ruiz again, doing it again. Different striker he's finding this time. Of course, Kakayo does play as a false 9, so he does drop deep, really deep at times, almost into a central midfielder area. But I do really like the false 9 role this year in Football Manager, because it does still make runs like that when it needs to. All I'm going to say is 4 shots on target, 3 goals. Ruiz with a hat-trick of assists, and he is running the show. He wants to do it again. Stop it, Ruiz. Stop it. Stop it. He puts in. Aguiar heads it. It was almost another. Having played so well over the last few months, but really kind of had an awful start to December, I was a bit nervous coming back for this game, because Brighton are a good team. They're only 3 points behind us, and away from home, I was not expecting it to be easy. I mean, it's still, you know, a lot of football to be played here, but we are making it look easy right now. Sassi's bringing it forward. He's cutting inside. He shoots. It deflects. It's cleared away. Cardozo's shot blocked wide. We are keeping the pressure up. I do think that Aguiar and Kakayo is our best front 2 partnership. You might be surprised that they've not kind of played more together, because I think I kind of mentioned last episode I thought they might be my best partnership. But with us having the youngsters like Laudrup especially, I want to give them game time if I can to develop, and it is that balancing act of kind of, you know, wanting to play the best strike force when I need to, but giving younger players that chance to shine. Anyway, Tunkara for them shoots from range. Nice save by Nana. If that had gone in, I would have been crossed, because that was from a long way out. Unfortunately, Bentner here. Lord Bentner, maybe. Or maybe Lorne Bentner's son. He's going to whip it in. It's headed away by Grom, and Tunkara. Serant shoots. I said I was going to be annoyed by that last goal going in. It wasn't dissimilar there, was it? Shot from outside the box, trickles into the bottom corner. Admittedly, on this occasion, it was kind of a quite pure strike through traffic. Nana just couldn't get down to it. Okay, 4 minutes of added time at the end of this first half. We are 3-1 to the good. Ruiz, Cardozo, and Gwashi. Ryu dinks it forward. Ruiz, can he get another assist? He's looking for his 4th. He puts it on a plate. It's cleared away. We're going to keep it up, though. It's Ruiz again. He could score. He almost did. The keeper parried it wide. Ruiz right now, by the way, on a 10.0 rating. He's never played this well ever. Like, this is weird. I love the 23-year-old. I think he's got a load of potential, and he could really lock down either the right mid position or the right back position long term, depending on how we end up playing over the course of the remainder of this save. I mean, what a performance today. One of the easier team talks I think I'm going to have all season. I've just told the players I'm very happy. Keep it going, please. We have been absolutely top drawer in this game so far. Okay, 55 minutes played. Still only a 2-goal game. You know, we got all these goals really early on and we've slowed down a little bit since then. I'd like, you know, a 4th goal here to reinstate the 3-goal lead. Kakayo's shot is saved. But it's good to see us in this second half continuing as we did in the first. The ball's whipped in here by Ruiz. Andre collects it. An hour played now. I am going to make some subs regardless of what happens here. I feel like this next goal is really going to determine how this game goes. Because if Brighton get it, a 1-goal game, suddenly I feel a bit worried. But, well, given how we've played so far, we've looked dominant. We're through again. Cardozo gets another goal. He has looked at home in this new tactic. Simon as the channel midfielder, just linking up the play here with Cardozo. This pass here is absolutely sensational. You can see there the false 9 dropped deep. Cardozo then attacked into the space vacated. Those two players really interact so nicely. Anyway, I am going to make some changes here. Cardozo's goal hasn't come through yet. Before he scored, he had been struggling. We're going to bring in, I think, some fresh legs in the wider area. I'm actually going to just take off Ruiz and protect him a little bit. Grommen on a booking concerns me. Let's bring in Jimenez. Of course, Jimenez was one of our starting centre-backs last year, and I do want to continue to give the man game time. Easy to forget, he's only 20 years old. I have got 2 more subs if I want to make them. You know what? Let's bring in Burn. Burn actually is a false 9 as well. Suits the role pretty well. I wish his kind of vision and passing were maybe a little bit better, but in terms of the technicals outside of passing and vision, and also just the mentals, he does have a pretty good reading of the game. Of course, we have got the Carabao Cup quarter-final coming up next against Liverpool, so the fact that we're able to save some legs and just rest some players a little bit and not have to force them to play the full 90 here is just a really, really nice thing. Definitely feel like the changes that we made in this game have worked quite nicely. Obviously, I love our ball-playing centre-backs to get on the ball, especially the wider players that do have the dribble more instruction. When there's only a lone player out of possession, which is what Brighton are doing, they have a lot of time and space on the ball to bring it forward, which they've done on the regular as Garcia brings it forward and plays it to Burn. The 2 subs link up. It's 5-1. We scored 5 goals against Leicester last episode. I don't think we've scored 5 goals in a game since then. I turn on the recording software, hit start record, and we do it again. I know we got the early goal before we made some tinkery tweaks to kick off the match, but I'll tell you what, I do feel like those changes really did make a difference here. Away from home, having more than 50% of the ball is unheard of for us. Green, happy, smiley faces across the board. Hopefully now we can rebuild up the momentum. The next 2 games, though, are not easy. With that result there, we move up to 4th. We do still have Brentford and Fulham breathing down our necks, but if we could extend a little bit of a gap to Brighton and those other teams trailing, that would be quite nice. Anyway, we have got a little bit of a side quest to do next. It's the EFL Cup. It's a trip to Anfield. Never an easy one. I'm going to hope we can put up a bit of a fight. Okay, folks, game number 2 today, taking on Liverpool. I love it when you get the little board end of support expectations and everyone's just like, yeah, we're going to lose, so let's see what we can do. But we're going to try and play our counter-attacking style of play and see how it works. Now, in terms of team news for today's game, Bordalas is actually suspended from this competition, so he is not on the bench. And elsewhere, Graham Burney, who I was thinking I might start against his former club, bruised his thigh. You'd think that'd be the kind of injury he could soldier on through in order to play against his former club, but it's not. I mentioned earlier the fact I think Lennis and Spolyar are going to move on in January. So with that in mind, I'm actually going to play Stemenkovic in this game. This guy, you might remember, is the youngster from Montenegro that was wanted by Man City and PSG. I threw a lot of money to bring this guy in. I've actually been trying to give him some matches, and he has already scored in the EFL Cup. I feel like as a super sub, he's not the worst option in the world. Laudrup has been improving a hell of a lot lately, so despite the fact Aguiar played well last game, I'm actually going to bring in Laudrup and see what he can do. Sassy's form has been a little bit hit and miss. If Bordalas hadn't been suspended, he probably would have also featured in this game. Originally, I was going to drop Ruiz just in terms of rotating things, but after that last game against Brighton, it's difficult to justify that one. Away from home, trip to Anfield, never an easy game this one. I'm looking at their team there. I think they have rotated it a fair amount, which, I mean, is maybe not an entirely huge surprise, I feel like, for teams that are competing in European football, challenging for a Premier League title. This competition isn't the top priority, but for ourselves, I want to make something happen here. We are going to go into this. They've still got good players like Ruggieri, who is a top quality player, and also Alexis Faragalia. I should mention this guy. He is a new gen striker for Liverpool who is absolutely terrifying. I don't think he even normally starts for them. He's got, I'm looking at his stats here, he's got 6 goals and 7 assists, and he's only started 7 Premier League games. I am looking through the rest of their team here. I don't think it's like their normal starting team. I mean, there's a 32-year-old Elliot Anderson, but even with a rotating team, Liverpool's team on paper is definitely better than ours. Okay, a slow opening to this game. I'm going to be honest, as much as I'm playing a full-strength team, like this Liverpool team is running away at the top of the table, and a team that, well, many other clubs have just been unable to stop scoring goals. Their firepower is scary. They're on the attack here. Fofana in the wide area, cutting inside, lays it inside. Oliver blocks it wide. Also, in the latest Football Manager update, they made it rain less in Football Manager. I've definitely noticed it's very much improved. Last episode, we didn't have any rain, did we, on Friday? Sadly, we have got rain here up in the northwest. Maybe that's accurate. Laudrup's in behind. The number 44 has the pace, doesn't have the composure. The keeper saves it. That might be the kind of golden opportunity that we look back on and regret. When I saw Laudrup running through the middle, I thought we were going to score. You kind of look at him with 17 acceleration and 16 pace, and he just couldn't get away from the defenders. Halfway through this first half, Liverpool have not created a lot in this game. In fact, I'm not even sure they've had a shot on target yet. We find ourselves in possession of the ball, looking to craft out an opportunity. Ruiz with a little outside the foot pass that is cleared away, but only as far as Sassy, the number 3, holding it up, looking to get it inside. Laudrup lays it back in. It's blocked. That was a real opportunity. You can see we've got so many players in the penalty area here. We are brave with this system. Even away from home against Liverpool, we are going to commit men to the attack on this occasion. Just couldn't find a breakthrough. I'm a little bit worried that for all that attacking that we've now done, Liverpool are just going to have this one moment of quality as they possess the ball and make something happen. Nana tips it over. You know what? We're playing really well in this game. I'm going to encourage the players. Half an hour played. It's really even if we're only having 20% of possession. Out of possession, they are playing with 2 pressing centre mids and a defensive midfielder. So there's 2 things I'm going to change here. I'm going to get rid of pass into space, and for distribution, I'm actually going to put it on distribute to the centre-backs. My thinking here being is that they've got this one striker who's actually an outlet centre-forward who's not really going to press. If I can get my 2 wider centre-backs in possession, with the dribble more instruction, they'll carry the ball forward. Hopefully that will then trigger the presses of the Liverpool centre mids and just leave us with some passing lanes open to our own centre mids. That's my thinking. We'll see how it plays off as well. This first half is just going to come and go. It's 0-0 at the break. From kickoff, imagine if we could create something. Cardozo, Laudrup, that's a lovely pass. Kakayo, outside of the post, we nearly created something within 30 seconds of the restart. Time to make some subs in this game. I'm going to have to play Simon, I think, as our left midfielder instead of Sassy. Sassy's tired. He's got a knock as well, so it's just not worth the risk. And unfortunately, our normal player in that part of the pitch is just unavailable. Pearson at centre mid. Aguiar and Zidi I'm going to bring in just for a fresh attacking outfit. And I'm also going to bring in Addons for Ryu. Ryu, in terms of average ratings, hasn't been performing amazingly. But I do feel like just defensive deep line playmakers don't get good ratings in the match engine of Football Manager this year. He's been a solid little player for us, but he's run his race today. We're going to bring in the youngster Addons. 4 changes made. Liverpool, by the way, only 1 shot on target. Discussed earlier how defence for us has just been our big standout strength. And you're kind of seeing it on full show here. Really limited Liverpool's opportunities, and with 20 minutes left, I'm expecting them to really go for it and attack more, and that is definitely going to put a strain on our team. But I think we've shown through over an hour of football here, like we really can just go toe-to-toe with a great Liverpool side. Saying all of that, they carve us open and score, and it's Faraglia with it. I knew it was coming. I could feel it as I started yapping that sentence. I wanted to stop it, I couldn't. It was too late. Fernandez with the ball down this left-hand side. It's the first time all game where I feel like we've been kind of outnumbered. And unfortunately, the ball is put in to an acute angle. Still a great little finish. Chested down and hit on the volley. Liverpool have the lead. Was thinking about what changes I was going to make, and then a highlight fired up before I could tinker with anything. We've had a free kick that's kind of been half cleared away here. But we retain possession. Now it's about trying to do something with it. Zidi dropping deep as the false 9. Trying to create something here. Cardozo making that run beyond. Number 8 cutting inside. Falls to Aguiar. We score immediately. I don't need to touch a thing. I know I discussed it earlier. The false 9 just moving and, well, roaming with the ball and leaving that space for Cardozo directly behind him to run into has been such a fun combo to watch here. And as for the finish, I'll tell you what, that is a tidy one into the near post. There's 10 minutes left here. Look at the stats. Look at them. I know we're not having a load of the ball. We don't need to have a load of the ball here. We have had a top quality performance on the road. These kind of performances are the ones that make me think, yes, European football via the league, a real possibility. Of course, this isn't the league. This is the cup. And with what, 3.5 minutes left? Maybe there's still time for some late drama here. Simon plays it to Pierce. Pierce back to Simon. What does Simon says? Jack says, put the ball in the box. Can we do it? Pierce ghosting inside, shoots the American, scores. It might be the real American dream. It's 2-1. I'll tell you what, maybe Simon Burberry can just be a left midfielder for us. He plays it inside to Pierce, who has unfortunately lost his spot in the team. He might have just regained it. That is a quality finish by the centre mid. I kind of want to change a load of things and go more defensive to see out the game. But it's the kind of thing where if I make those changes and then concede, you lot will say it's because I went defensive. I'm not going to touch a thing. We've limited Liverpool's chances this game. There's 40 seconds left. Stop it, Football Manager. Ambrosio, our former players on the pitch. That's terrifying. We clear it away. Sandro Tonali looking to keep the attack alive. Frimpong as well. They've brought on the big guns, haven't they, on off the bench here. Oh, I don't like this. They're on the attack, Liverpool. There's a matter of seconds left. They've scored. It's 2-2. I should have made the changes. I got in my own head. I wanted to make the changes and I didn't. Because I was scared of what the comments would say if I did make changes and then we conceded. I haven't made changes and then we've conceded anyway. So the comments are going to arrive regardless. It's 2-2. I'm in pain. Gibson scores it. I want to cry. Wait, there's another highlight. Surely not. Okay, the ball's got out of play. That's got to be that. We've played 45 seconds more than the allocated added time. Ngwashi, go down the line, mate. We've got to try and make something happen here quickly. Why are you time wasting? What are you doing, you dingus? He throws it. Ziddy's not there. Imagine if there's another goal for either team here. Pierce can't get there. It goes to penalties. And stop me if you've heard this one before. We don't have penalty takers here at this football club. Let's hope it doesn't go beyond the 4th penalty, ideally. We have no good takers. Relax, pick a spot, and don't change your mind. I mean, what else do you say here? It goes to penalties. Why are we looking at the centre circle? Football Manager, are we okay? I can't see the penalty shootout. If I go 2D Classic, that's not... We've got UI now, that's good. Key highlights, behind got... I mean, this just isn't doing anything, is it? Football Manager, can I watch the shootout? I'm on the new update. Has the game got a new bug where it just gets stuck going into penalty shootouts? Because if that's a thing, that's a bit awkward, isn't it? I literally don't know if I can do anything here. If I go to only commentary, does that help? There's no commentary happening, which is concerning. I think the game is stuck. So you know what? Rather than having to endure a penalty shootout, we'll just hit the instant result button and hope that we win. Please, Football Manager, do it for me. Oh, we lost 7-6. I mean, on the one hand, we've not had to sit through 10 minutes of tears. On the other hand, it's just annoying that an issue like that exists in Football Manager, isn't it? We lose on penalties, we're robbed of a moment. Oh, I really want to like this game, but then stuff like this happens and... I mean, how can you say you enjoy moments like that? You know what, it's okay, the game has only been out for 4 months at this point. Maybe they'll fix it in the next patch. Oh, I mean, I'm gutted because we've lost, also because of how we've lost, and also because we were winning until the very last kick of the game, pretty much. Well, you know what? I've got Manchester United in 3 days' time. If you have seen that bug that I've just experienced, please let me know down below. I'm going to rest up these players. We've got a trip to the dripping pan. Yeah, we're at home for this next one, finally. Let's end on a high. Okay, game number 3 today, Manchester United at home. In terms of our team, it's the exact same team that took on Brighton in the league previously. As for Manchester United, I thought they had turned a little bit of a corner in their season because they were starting to string some wins together. They actually had a really, really bad start to the season, but as of late... they are struggling again. So it is safe to say this is a game I now go into with sky-high expectations at home. I think given where we are in the league, this is a game we expect to win now. Looking at their team here, they are going for a 4-2-3-1. They've got some very good players. Gustavo Sarr is absolutely quality. Sesko still leading the line. But we've got our own bits of quality as well, haven't we? Like Grommen, like Sassy, like Simon. What can the channel midfielder do? He goes on his own. And the keeper had to parry that wide. I think the keeper there got a toe on it to put it round the post. It was a golden opportunity. We could have another chance immediately. Throw in on the near side. Sassy, Ruiz, Ryu. Back to Ruiz. Whips it in. Kakayo heads it in and scores. We're a goal up. I am a bit confused as to why my right back was taking the throw in on the left-hand side of the attacking third. We'll check that in a moment. Maybe it's genius. You know, you can have an overload on that side and then at the back post, your striker's free. When the throw-in is on the left-hand side, the throw-in taker should be Sassy. And then when it's on the right-hand side, it should be Ruiz. Yeah, I don't know why Ruiz was taking the throw in there. That was a bug. I've not noticed that happening before, so I'm not sure if he was off the pitch with a knock or something and then came back on and happened to be the closest player to it. We'll call it 1-1 with the Football Manager gods in terms of bugs that have ruined my day today. That one helped me. Through half an hour of football here, Manchester United yet to have a shot on target. They've had 2 shots, make that 3, for an XG that is very unimpressive. Mention the fact they've been struggling for goals lately. I guess given our defensive record, you'd kind of expect this to be a game where they do struggle for goals, and that is certainly how it's played out so far. Saying all of that, there's a lot of football to be played, and I definitely don't want to rest on our laurels. We need to go and get a second goal. A third goal, if we could, would be delightful. Ruiz, Kakayo scores. Ruiz has got another assist. Kakayo's got another goal. It turns out Ruiz is just the most overpowered right midfielder in the game. He plays it in behind. Kakayo turns on the afterburners, uses that pace on the half volley. That is a stupendous finish. We've now got a corner. Simon is over it, whipping it towards the near post. It's cleared away, but only as far as Gromman, who's going to look to keep it alive here. Steps it back. That's a lovely little run. He did everyone there. Gives it back to Ngwashi. Plenty of big meaty men in the middle to aim for. Gromman battling away for it with it. Falls to Simon. Aguiar shoots. We're beating Manchester United 3-0. The dripping pan is an absolute bloody fortress. Shea Charles and Gromman exchanged possession in the middle. It falls to Aguiar here. 1 touch, 2 touches, shoots across goal with so much power. Lamons couldn't get close to it. I went into this episode, didn't I, saying that I wasn't sure if Kakayo and Aguiar was like my striking partnership. I can tell you now, this is my striking partnership. We're 3 goals up. I'm very happy. No, nice and simple team talk, really. Have to admit, a little bit like the Brighton game, it's been one of those games where we have just taken all the chances that have come our way. We've massively overperformed our XG, but equally, whilst we're doing great in terms of converting our chances, the way in which we limited Manchester United's chances is crazy. Our possession in this game sits at 63%. Saying all of that, they have now got a corner. If they get 1 goal back, you start to worry a little bit. Oliver clears it away. Elios shoots from range. Nana had it covered. Going to make some changes here. Cardozo can have a rest. We're going to bring in Pearce in the midfield. Think I'm going to bring in Addons as well for Ryu. I need to keep giving Addons game time. Gromman is having a really good game, but he's played a lot of football this season, so I'm actually going to bring Jimenez into the team, but we'll play Jimenez in the centre of the defence. Oliver's better physicals in terms of quickness, make him better suited to playing out wide. And I know Aguiar did just score. I'm going to bring in Laudrup for some game time because Laudrup has been developing really, really nicely. And I feel like we just need to give him minutes. With 10 minutes left, I'm going to bring in Ziddy with our final change too. This game feels like it's done now. I mean, at this point, a 4th goal would be nice, but actually I'd rather win, 3-0 than win 4-1 with a clean sheet. Let's see if we can keep the clean sheet here. Ngwashi keeping the sheets clean by giving them an Ngwashi in the middle. Although Dorku bringing the ball forward. And with that terrible pun, I probably deserve to concede. Oh my word. I don't know why Shea Charles has shot from there. It almost ended up being a goal of the season contender. I will say in the second half, we've not really created as much as I'd like. And Manchester United have had more shots, but you can kind of tell from the XG and the possession. Their shots have been from range. They've not had a lot of the ball. We have bullied them here. It is another emphatic win. Great little clean sheet. Green, smiley, happy faces across the board. And with that there, albeit because Chelsea haven't played, we've gone up into 3rd. I do want to get carried away and say we're going to go on this crazy run and finish highly. It is still really close behind us. Like West Ham, who are down in 9th, are only 6 points behind us right now. Nevertheless, we are 2 games away from the halfway point in the season, and we are in an unprecedented situation. Bit of a shame that we lost the Carabao Cup game, but I think the league is the focus this year, and having not won in 3, got to be happy with today's results. Anyway, folks, that is everything from me today. Let me know down in the comments what you think of the transfers that I've got lined up. Is Victor as good as I think he's going to be? He looks absolutely sensational for me. He will definitely be playing for us come January. And as for Tuta, I'm still not sure I really needed another striker to throw into the whole striker conundrum, but this guy, who's only just turned 19, he just felt too good to turn down. Anyway, really hope you enjoyed the longer episode with plenty of matchday action today. If you did, go down below, leave a like, and besides all of that, I'll see you tomorrow, same time and place as always, for your daily dose of Park to Prem. I'm out.